to talk about creating your signature look. And as a small business owner, it is super important to think about the brand of your business. So I am going to call on Tammy first. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background? And then after you, it'll be Natalie.
Sure. Hi, I'm Tammy Parrish, and I am from Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Grew up in the Midwest, moved to New York City, lived there for a long time, and followed my dream of becoming a fashion designer. So I then fell in love with a Dutch guy, wound up in Amsterdam. So today I'm living in Amsterdam. And my business is called The Clothing Compass, and I love working with individuals to help them shine through their appearance. So it's matching your outside with your inside. So I'm excited to talk to you today about how you can help build or strengthen your personal brand through what you wear.
Awesome. And Natalie, if you don't mind telling us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, I am Natalie Setareh. I am a military veteran as well as a military spouse. I left this active duty in about 2013 and then was in the reserves, and then realized I really wanted to be an entrepreneur and work for myself. So I pursued makeup. That's what I love. That's what I love doing. And I realized early on in my career, there was just a lack of real life practical makeup education, like how to actually hold a brush, how to actually paint makeup on your face. And so I really decided this is the lane that I wanted to focus on as an artist. And I wrote a book called Be Your Own Makeup Artist, which has been really well received, and it's now available in German. And I actually created this program that we're going to talk about, Create Your Signature Look, and all the advice, years ago, but it was missing a vital piece. And your makeup can be great, but if you don't know what to wear, something's missing. And Tammy is just a great partner for this amazing program. And together, whether you join the program or not, you're going to learn a lot from us and how to do it yourself. So I am so excited to be here. Thanks for having me, Jaime.
Absolutely. Just so you know, I am in that book. I very close friends with Natalie. We lived together overseas whenever we were stationed there before we PCS'd over here to Texas. And I did a photo shoot and everything. So it was really cool, fun experience. Just fun fact of the day. Looky there. So what we're going to talk about today is creating your signature look. And again, the importance of this is it's not about your appearance. It's about your brand, because as a small business owner, your personal brand bleeds over and it oftentimes becomes the brand of your business. And so this is all about, building credibility for your business and building your own personal brand while you're at it. So the first kind of thing I want to say here is, as you watch this video, you'll probably have a lot of questions, and I really want you to ask them. Stick an emoji in the comments and say hello. Let us know you're here and ask your questions. We will do our best to address them during the live video, but we don't want to sideline the good pieces of wisdom that they're going to talk about. So when it comes to a natural pause, we'll start addressing a few of your questions in the comments. And then if you tune in and watch this later, and it's after the video is already over, ask your questions anyway and make sure to @tag one of us so that we know you're there asking. Let's get started. I will ask the first question, and maybe this is stating the obvious, but what the heck is a signature look in the first place? Who wants to take that one?
Well, I'll take that to start with. I'll take it. I mean, I don't know about you, but I think it's really easy to focus on what you're comfortable with. And all of us, most of us, get dressed before we walk out the door, right? So clothing is a natural thing that we think of because we have to wear something to leave the house. But what I realized recently is I style clients and I shop for them. And it was a realization after a conversation with Natalie about why am I always taking pictures of clients without their heads? So I want them to focus on the outfit because that's my specialty. But I realized part of it is because if they're not made up, right? If the head is not matching the body, then neither part works. So I'm negating what the work I've done when the head doesn't match. It sounds like paper dolls, and it kind of is. So a signature look is just the ease of knowing what looks good on you and what makes you feel good and what gives you confidence and power to go out and run your business and do what you want. So, and to meet all your goals. So that signature look is knowing what flatters you and what matches your ambition and not having to rethink it every day. So I help clients with from the neck down, let's say, and Natalie's from the neck up.
That's awesome. Hold on, let me put myself. I have to manually put faces over here. And if we're talking and we're still small, somebody yell at me in the comments and let me know. I think about the very extreme example of, let's say, Steve Jobs, who always just wore, jeans and a black turtleneck, which was his signature look. And oh, by the way, it was really easy and it removed all the decision-making from his life because he had his outfits picked out already. Now, I know that's on the extreme end of the signature look spectrum, right? But let's talk about some of the real life cases, if you're willing and open to share about those, of people that you've maybe helped serve who've had a good experience with this, as well as not just for their personal signature look, but where it helped amplify their business. Is there a real life case study you could talk about with this?
I can take that one. So I'm going to give two examples. One is going to be the military community, and I'm going to talk about the men out there. They're wearing a lot of, it's not just men. A lot of men are wearing a uniform every single day, and women, and I was one of them, right? I remember wearing a uniform every single day and then going out into the world and not knowing what to wear. And being also a spouse, a trailing spouse, who's my husband's career, my spouse's career is kind of the predominant, I don't know. He's kind of like the breadwinner in many ways in terms of the career. At this point, you have to kind of always reinvent yourself and where you're going to go and where you're going to live and how you're going to dress. So there's a lot of people that can relate to this. Then there's also, in my experience as a makeup artist, I have worked with so many women, especially women who have, become older. Okay, they're over 40, they're over 50, they're over 60, and they're very successful and they're very ambitious and they're doing amazing things, but they're still stuck in how they did their makeup when they were 20 and 30. And their bodies have changed and the self-confidence has changed. And so we always are creating our signature look. We always need to know how to adapt to that. And for Tammy and I, it's something that kind of comes naturally, but for a lot of people, especially women in the professional workforce, it doesn't always come easy to have that signature look that they know will look good. Okay, I'm going to have interviews today, or I'm going to be speaking to a large group of employees today, or I'm going to be meeting with clients or vendors. You have to know what you're going to wear. You have to know how you're going to do your makeup. And you don't have time to stress out about that kind of stuff. So when we think about it, when Tammy and I talk about a signature look, it's knowing what you're going to do for all of these important decision points, or it's creating it from scratch if you're coming out of, a uniform every day, or if you're a parent and you're at home and then you decide to enter the workforce again. We're helping with that. So we like to help people to create their own signature look. And that's going to look different for everyone.
It's good to know. So let's just kind of talk. I'll let you lead the tips, but I want to hear your tips for an individual thinking of the small business owner who is the face of their brand. What advice, what tips or tricks might you have for that individual?
Tammy, you want to take this one?
Well, one thing, I'm going to give a tip. Sure. I'll start off with a tip, but I wanted to say something. My impression, I'm not military or ex-military, but one thing that stands out to me is the idea that if you're in the military, you spend your life moving around. It's hard to have roots somewhere, or I can imagine that, because of the constant moving or the being ready to move. And this developing a look of a way that you're showing up in the world physically really does help with that grounding. It gives you a sense of roots in a way. And the first tip I would say, if you think, I don't know what you're talking about, it sounds good, but where do I start? I would say the first thing to do is analyze where you're at right now. And I like to make pictures. So I work with an online platform and I take pictures of clients and upload them, or they do that themselves. But just to start, and it sounds silly because you think I look in the mirror every day, I know what I look like, but it's different when you look at a picture. So if you can start snapping some photos of yourself in outfits that you would wear for work, and look at those side by side. That's the best place to start to see where you're at. And I'll let Natalie go on one, and then I'll have more.
Okay.
So for me, as a makeup artist, the first question I always ask every single person is, what's your skin type? You have to know your skin. You have to love it with all of the scars or the acne or every single person has something with their skin on their face that they maybe are insecure about, or they don't know about, or they don't know how to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm always like, you need to know your skin type, because if you're not taking care, it's like brushing your teeth. And you would not believe how many people just do not take care of their skin every day. And especially as we get older, you can get away with it even up until you're like mid-30s and even 40s. But at a certain point, it's not going to be so easy. So the number one thing is to know your skin type, and that's going to set the foundation, no pun intended, for anything that you do in the future. And so I am, shameless plug, I do have a free, unsponsored, unbiased skin type guide, because I think it should be common knowledge. You can get it at skincareforbeginners.com. But that if you don't know your skin type, that's the number one step to everything. And that's the one thing I like to talk about. And it's not makeup. And people are always like, that's not makeup. I'm like, yeah, but if you're going to put makeup on top of your skin, you have to know what your skin type is. Otherwise it might not work, or it's not going to look good, or it's not going to last. So number one tip is to know your skin type.
Awesome. Tammy, you said you had more tips.
Oh, I've got lots of tips. So I would say, okay, now you've sort of you've taken an inventory, right? You've taken an inventory of how you're showing up now. How are you going to your meetings? And even if it's online, I know we're all working online now, but make screenshots when you go onto a video call. That's fine too. And just have a look at and look at it and see what you think, and think about from the perspective of your audience. So that's always important, right? When you're deciding how to show up for any event or occasion, even an everyday one, who is your audience and what are their expectations, right? So it's not that you are trying to please them, but if you're not thinking about their perspective, you just have to do that. So once you've analyzed how you're showing up, the second step is, and this is a big one, to think about what it is you want to convey. Who do you want to be? What do you want people to think, and how do you want them to react when they see you? And it sounds a bit out there maybe, but to really stop and think about that, and then to look at those photos you took and think, as your audience, when I look at this person, what do I think? What is my first impression? Because the whole first impression thing, obviously, once you get to know someone, it's a different story, but we judge one another within 3 to 7 seconds, and it's completely human nature. We don't need to feel bad about it. We just judge based on what we see. So I always say, you don't want to distract, right? You want people to actually listen to what you're saying. So the visual that they see has to make sense in the beginning. So you've made the pictures, you've thought about how do you want to come across, and then go back and look at those pictures and see if that's the message that you're actually sending out.
And I would just go 3 steps further and say, if you're not sure, phone a friend. I'm sure your friends could probably help you decide if your messaging through your brand is in alignment with the messaging you want to convey as well. So phone a friend if you're not sure and you're looking at pictures, because I know I would be like, I have no idea. I have no idea. Is this working? I can't tell. So this is amazing. It's, and when I was thinking this might be like a lot more technical and we'd be talking about lipstick and wearing scarves, but this is actually, it's a lot of self-work about who you are and what you want to be and what you want to accomplish. So this is deep. It's a lot deeper than I was thinking it would be. So transitioning the conversation a little bit more, if there was just one thing, if you had to leave one big tip, one big message with a business owner, what would that tip be?
So I'll take this one. So a lot of times I see business owners not showing up because they don't like how they look on camera. They don't like how they sound. They don't know how to do their makeup. And they're not showing up. And you can't get away with that anymore. Like, you can for a little bit. And eventually people are going to be like, who is this business? And people will become suspicious. So if you're not confident about your image or your voice, I don't want to go philosophical. So a practical tip would be to hire, a stylist and a makeup artist and a hairstylist to make you feel confident, right? Aside from doing it yourself and learning how to do it yourself. It does get expensive to always hire somebody to do it. And sometimes you don't have the time or the luxury. And so for business owners who are too scared to do it, consider that a business expense, because you have to do it. You have to get those pictures taken. You have to show up. And if you're not going to learn how to do that, then you need to outsource that or get a really good mascara and blush. So.
Well, and let me just say, I
and
had no idea this was so important until I actually did like a business branding photography shoot. And then I realized how much better, the appearance of my business looked online when I was actually sort of a part of the branding. And there was also some business advice I'd received about on the main page of your website, putting a hero shot of you, like the founder of the business, right there on the front page to smack people in the face when they come visit your website. So Tammy, I believe you were talking and I talked right over the top of you. So I'll let you go.
No. Well, my number one tip with, what you put it on your body from the neck down is color is really important. So you don't need to go overboard, but you just need to think about it. And online, right, is so different than live. So just do some experiments based on what you have in your closet and compare some colors and see when you put that color under your face, what happens to your face. And it sounds like, nothing. But if you do it in a mirror in daylight, you will see a huge difference. So the point is, you want to look alive, right? You want to look glowing and your skin looking healthy, not flat. Or if you're wearing the wrong colors, your skin actually looks green, orange, red, an unnatural shade of those colors. So color can be a huge way and an easy way, right? A really simple, fast, inexpensive way to really improve how you're coming across.
That's good advice. And I've even known entrepreneurs go so far as to have a color, like their signature color that they love so much that they always wear in their photos and in their branding and stuff like that online. That said, while we have these two on the line, if anybody is watching and you've always been dying to ask a stylist or a makeup artist any questions, now's the time to make sure you drop those questions in the comments. I remember myself, I was watching these two on Instagram not long ago, and I was like, what about my hair? I have long hair. It's always covering up my whole outfit. It's like covering up half my face too. What do I do about that? So now's the time to ask your very specific questions while we have them live and get them answered now. And again, if you're watching later and you still have a question, drop it in the comments and make sure to tag one of us. That way we know you asked it to us. That way we don't miss it. So ladies, is there anything else before we get ready to go here? If we don't get any more questions, is there anything else you'd like to leave with our audience today?
One of the things that I I was going to say one of the things that Tammy said or wrote, and I think it was on her website, and I really like it. And it kind of goes back to what I was just saying. We outsource so much in our lives. We outsource our groceries or food delivery or house cleaning, and we don't realize it. And Tammy said that you can outsource looking good. And I'm going to tell you, looking good, I know you're laughing, but it's true. You can outsource that. There are people in the world who love helping people feel good and beautiful in how they look. So I think that's something that really has stuck with me, and I never thought about that before. Amy says she needs that outsource. Yes, we can invest in ourselves. It's not selfish at all. When we look good, we feel good. And when we feel good, we're better parents, we're better employees, we're better friends, we're better siblings, whatever it is.
Employers.
Good. Employers, right? So there is power in confidence, and a lot of confidence comes from how we feel, and a lot of how we feel is unfortunately wrapped up in how we look. But good thing we have all the resources available to look good.
Yeah, it is so true. There are psychological studies about people dressing up and feeling better and performing better on the job and things like that. I can't name any of them right now, but I've certainly read them before. And it's been proven that like when you feel your best, you're going to perform your best. And part of that is the way your appearance is, at least if you feel nice in that outfit. So I actually have a question for the experts in the room. You know, COVID-19 happened and we have had sort of an interesting year. I think probably myself, along with many others, have started dressing differently because I'm always at home and it's like a chore to put makeup on to do a video. So what would your advice be for online when you're doing all these videos? What is your advice on still getting your message across, your branding, feeling like you're dressed for success and all of that? What is your tips for someone in the virtual space?
I think Natalie should take this because, frankly, you know, the biggest thing online is your face. The clothing, you're just showing this little bit. So quickly on the clothing, I say, it's true. All you need in that video conference is here. So have your Zoom shirt, have your scarf handy, a pair of earrings, depending on your microphone, have a necklace. For the guys, you know, make sure your shirt's clean and pressed. The clothes are simple, but I think the makeup, and I don't want to steal Natalie's thunder, but you don't have to go crazy with the makeup. So. Okay,
Natalie?
Yeah, so I'll confess, I have a Zoom makeup application, and I have different makeup applications for everything. And a Zoom makeup application or video is so much easier, right? You want to even out the skin tone. This is for men and women. I think a lot of men are starting to realize, oh crap, like I don't look that good. I need a little, honey, can I have some concealer or something? But like, or powder. But you don't need a lot. You want to brighten your eyes. And so eyeliner, mascara, those are two immediate ways to create contrast between the white of your eye and your eyelid. So, and curling, if you're not into mascara or eyeliner, you know, curl those lashes, open those like lashes. You look awake immediately, and that's no makeup, right? A little bit of blush adds the color to your face that you need so desperately when you're on a video, because without it, you look like a ghost. And so if you have good skin, if you're confident in your skin, and you don't really even need foundation, just a little bit of blush. And I am wearing actually a lipstick, and it looks like a nude color, like it's pretty light, but it's actually in person a lot darker. So wear a lipstick that is a little darker than you normally wear, that feels comfortable, because in the video, it's going to look a lot lighter. And so for men, chapstick. Come on, just a little bit of chapstick, a little bit of clear mascara on the eyebrows. Clean those things up, trim them up a little bit. And for guys, also a little bit of concealer in the inner corner of the eye. I mean, that can really immediately brighten the eye. Nobody will ever know. And then also I get a little shiny. I'm a little shiny right now, but having a good little setting powder is always good.
Awesome. We have a question. Can you read it, Natalie?
Yes. How do you determine the best eyeshadow color for your skin tone for day-to-day / Zoom wear? So, your eyes have so many different colors in them. And if you are going for, I guess this is like a very loaded question because there's so many different combinations. I have hazel eyes. I'll use my eyes as an example. So my eyes can look really brown some days. They can look really green some days, or they can look hazel in between. And there's a lot of yellow and gold in there. There isn't any purple. There's no blue, and there's no like teal, like in a blue eye I'm looking at my color wheel. So I'm like referencing. My son has very dark brown eyes, very dark. They almost look black. But if you look in the natural light, he's got lots of red undertones and also some gold. And if you have blue eyes, you're going to maybe have some purple in there, and you're going to have some dark blue. You might have some green. You might have some gold. So when you are looking at your eye color and the predominant colors that are in your eye, if you want to have a more natural, I'm going to grab my color. I have another color wheel here. It's easier to show you. This is a flesh tone color wheel. This is a makeup artist kind of color wheel, but you have your warm tones, which is the red. I'm like doing it. I'm not a weather girl. I really wanted to be though. Never master this. So you have your warm tones, and then you have your cool tones. And so let's say you have, brown eyes with lots of golds and yellow in them. You're going to want to use eyeshadows that are kind of complement. So a brown that has some red in it or some orange in it. And that's going to be nice, natural. It's going to really complement your eye. It's going to look nice and bright. Now, if you wanted to make more of a statement, you could do it subtly, right? You could use a brown that has blue in it, a bluish brown. And it would have a little bit more of a pop, a little bit more of a statement if you wanted to dress it up. And so knowing your eye color, so with the eyes, you have your skin tone and your undertone for your skin. But what's really fun about eye makeup is that you can go with all the fun colors that are in your eye and play around and really do what Tammy says, take a picture of your eyes and see what those little colors are, and find colors that either oppose them on the color wheel or that are right next to those colors. The ones that are right next to those colors are going to be complementary, really natural, brightening, and then the other colors are going to be more fun pops of color. And they can still be done like minimally and just kind of be that little subtle statement. So does that help? Does that help answer your question, Amy?
I'm sure it did. And I was asking in my own head there, is there that color wheel? Is that something we can find online, or where do we get it?
So Terry Tomlinson, she created this, and she's also been a guest on my podcast. I have the Be Your Own Makeup Artist podcast, and she actually shares a lot of information in that show. And you can learn straight from her. So that's a great episode, but you can buy this at most, just look online, Terry Tomlinson.
Awesome.
Makeup Training Academy.
Awesome. All right. So what do you think about lights? I know for makeup and for hair and outfits, I'm thinking about my own hair. What do you think about lighting? I know where you are in Europe, it's dark, it's nighttime. Where I am in Texas, it's 1:00 in the afternoon and the light's wonderful. And I feel like it helps to have natural light, but tips on lighting, because I know that in the video and Zoom world, that makes a big difference.
It's critical. Right now, my lighting is not good. I'm looking at myself thinking, oh, it's too light outside, but I said I need some light on my face. So I pulled the lights in, but I don't have enough light in the background right now. So that's really important, because if I'm small on the screen of the person I'm talking to, I look like a floating head. because everything else is blending in. So that's not good. It distracts your audience from what you're saying. So yeah, I mean, I think the best thing, I recommend getting 2 lights, especially if you wear glasses, because you need them on the sides where they're not reflecting off of your glasses, ideally. And then you want lights that you can change between cool and warm, and with the dimmer switches, because depending on how dark it is, depending on how much light you have in the room, behind you, in front of you, you want to be able to adjust the lights, and the lights always need to be right about here. I'm showing with my hands, or on the sides. So everybody's seen where somebody's sitting in front of a window, the light's coming from behind them, and then they're in a shadow. So ideally that light is in front of you, or just on the sides.
Awesome. Good tip. Thank you. Is there anything I am missing? I feel like you could really go down the rabbit hole with our topics, with talking about the business brand, creating your signature look. But before we get ready to drop off the line here, is there anything, a big gaping question that I am missing that I'm not asking you that I should be?
I don't think we could keep talking all day about this, but I do think that practice makes perfect. If you invest the time and energy into learning, whether you do it yourself or if you were to sign up for our program or someone else's, or work with someone else, whatever it is, it's not going to work if you don't invest any time into it and you just expect it to happen. And I think I can speak for makeup. I see a lot of people give up, or they're like watching tutorials on YouTube or Instagram, and they're trying and they're buying all the things and they're doing it and they can't get it. And practice makes perfect. And maybe the people that you're following, maybe they don't have the same eye shape. Maybe the products that they're using don't work for your skin type, or maybe you're not, you can't see the size of brushes. And so if you use a brush that you think is the same, I think a lot of people get discouraged before really giving it a go, and they just give up, kind of like with fitness and everything. So don't give up.
Yeah, I was thinking of dieting. It's the same. You got to go through it. Right?
Awesome.
You just have to, practice.
All right. Well, you two have been absolutely wonderful today. After our video ends, I will be dropping in the comments and tagging both of them in their businesses. That way you can go and explore them if you're interested in learning a little bit more. Then as well, we will link. There was a specific link to the basic skincare, the skincare basics that we'll drop in there. And then also the podcast, Natalie, that you mentioned. And so just feel free to check out later the links that we drop in the comments, because we talked about them actually during the chat here. And I thank you both for your expertise and for your wisdom, and everyone that was watching today, thank you as well.